What's up, guys? For today's build, we've got the Stormcaller Bottled Lightning build for Warlocks. Jumping right into it, our aspects are going to be the Arc Soul, so that whenever we cast our Rift, we get a little Arc Buddy, and then while we are amplified, our Arc Souls also are supercharged and gain increased rate of fire. And then Electrostatic Mind, so that when we defeat targets with arc abilities that are jolted or blinded, it creates an ionic trace, and then collecting them makes us amplified, which again feeds into our arc buddy. For our grenade, we're going to be running the Storm Nade because it's just so powerful and so easy to use. I love it. Sometimes the first little lightning strike doesn't kill them, so that jolts them, and then the second one will finish them off, giving us that ionic trace. And then I like to use Chain Lightning because it jolts our enemies, and then also while amplified, it creates additional chains, making it just take out entire crowds with one melee. And then I like to use Burst Glide and Healing Rift with this build. And then we are going to be using Storm Trance, because we are using Storm Dancer's Brace, which I will explain just in a moment here. And then for our fragments, we're going to be using Spark of Resistance, so while we are surrounded, we'll have extra damage resist, and we also get a bonus in our strength stat. We're going to be using Spark of Shock, so that our arc grenades jolt targets, and it does take away from our discipline just a little bit, but because we create ionic traces every time we defeat a jolted target, which our grenades will always do, it kind of balances out. And then Spark of Discharge, so our arc weapons have a chance to create ionic traces. Does take away from our strength, but that's not that big of a deal. Our grenades are a little bit more important here. And then Spark of Magnitude, so that our lingering nades, such as our Storm Grenade, will have increased duration. So, starting with our helmet mods, we are running a Solar Elemental Affinity, so that we can take advantage of Ashes to Assets, so that our grenades will be getting us lots of super energy, and also Bountiful Wells, so that every time that we make one well, we will get 2 instead of 1. But it also can stack with multiple mods. And then Harmonic Siphon, so that all of our arc weapons, since they match our subclass, will create a Orb of Power for us. On our gauntlets, we're going to be running a Stasis Elemental Affinity, so that we can take advantage of Grenade Kickstart. And then for our combat mod, we're going to be using Melee Wellmaker. For our chest piece, we're going to be using Storm Dance's Brace, as I mentioned earlier, so that each target that we defeat with Storm Trance increases the damage we deal, and then also will refund super energy whenever Storm Trance ends, which if you play it right, you're typically getting about 50% of your super back. Your Elemental Affinity does not matter here, so we're going to be running Elemental Ordnance, Concussive Dampener to reduce the AoE we get, and Thermoshock Plating. On our boots, we're going to be running Solar Elemental Affinity again, with Font of Wisdom, so that every time we pick up one of the numerous wells we will be creating, it will max out our intellect, getting us our super even faster. And then Innervation and Recuperation, so that each time that we pick up a Orb of Power, we're getting grenade energy and also replenishing our health. For our bond, we're going to be running Solar Elemental Affinity, so that we can take advantage of Double Bomber. And then Elemental Ordnance again, so that whenever we take out one target with a grenade, we will get 3 Elemental Wells. For our weapons, I like to run Chroma Rush or some sort of auto rifle in the first slot. And then if I am in lower level content, I will run Delicate Tomb. But in higher level content, I like to run Cold Heart, just because that way, whenever targets don't die as easily, you can use Cold Heart to continuously be generating ionic traces while in that high damage state that you will likely be in. For your heavy, it's kind of up to you. I like to use Tarantula with Feeding Frenzy and Rampage, but you can just as easily use something like Temptation's Hook or Arc Rocket Launcher like the Hothead or something like that. And then I'd also like to mention, while you do not have to run Bountiful Wells plus double Elemental Ordnance for 3 Elemental Wells, you could replace one of them for Font of Might, but I personally just like to create a lot more wells off of 1 grenade. And then, before I show a little gameplay of how this works, the dress name for this build is the Insight Victa hood with the Sauta tribe shader. And then I put Smudge Pot Bruise on the gauntlets, chest piece, boots, and bond with the painted Kitsune, I don't know how to say the word, gauntlets, the induction ceremony for Storm Dancer's brace ornament, and then the boots are the Legacy Oath, I think it's what it's called. They're from the Deepstone Crypt, and then the Phenotype Plasticity bond for the bond. The other name I toyed around with this build was the Mad Scientist, but I decided to go with Bottled Lightning. So, like I said, quick little demonstration of how this works. Run in and take out people with your fusion rifle, get elemental, your ionic traces, your amplified, drop that well. Your arc buddy takes care of basically everything for you subconsciously. Run in there, you can throw down a nade, takes down tons of people. Cast that super. Take out lots of people real easy. And again, every target that you're taking out with your Storm Trance with Storm Dancer's Brace, stacking up to 10 times will increase the damage it does. And as you can see, I already have 50% of my super back, and with Font of Might and Ashes to Assets, I will get that back extremely fast. So, that has been the Bottled Lightning build for Arc Warlock. Thanks for watching, and I will see you next time.